A vast alien fleet, colossal and ominous, appeared in Earth's solar system, coming under the command of the Galactic Empire. These aliens, superior in every way imaginable, technologically advanced, militarily seasoned, had never feared a species like humanity. They had studied Earth's history and laughed at what they found. They saw a primitive world with only basic technologies, and in their eyes, humanity was no more than an easy target, a playground for conquest. The leader of the alien fleet, Commander Zoreth, stood on the command bridge, overseeing the operation. His towering figure, with sleek, dark armor, exuded authority. His long, sharp antennae twitched as he looked down at the blue planet. "This will be an easy victory," he muttered to himself. "No real threat here. Let's see what these weak humans can do when we show them true power." The fleet's ships, some as large as small moons, hovered just outside Earth's orbit. Their weapons, massive and deadly, hummed softly in anticipation, ready to strike. But the commander, ever the strategist, didn't rush into battle. He needed to confirm one thing: was Earth truly as defenseless as they believed? To do that, he ordered a scan of Earth's atmosphere. The ship's scanning systems were unparalleled in their sophistication. They could read the chemical compositions of any planet's atmosphere, detect any unusual activity, and calculate the most precise threat levels. As the data poured in, Commander Zoreth's confident smirk began to fade, just slightly. "Scan results. Odd," one of the officers reported. Zoreth turned sharply, his antennae now stiff with suspicion. "Explain." The officer hesitated. "We've detected something strange. Energy fluctuations. Earth's atmosphere seems to be emitting an energy signature. It's not natural. It's too powerful for a planet like this." Zoreth's first instinct was to dismiss the reading as a glitch. Earth was supposed to be primitive, after all. The technology here was crude, the civilization young, and still crawling through its technological adolescence. There couldn't possibly be something capable of threatening them. "Run the scan again," Zoreth barked, his tone sharp. "This is just an anomaly." But as the second scan completed, the results were even more baffling. The energy signature didn't fade. In fact, it was growing stronger, more focused, almost intentional. It was unlike anything they had encountered before. Zoreth's eyes narrowed. He knew that something wasn't right. The energy readings weren't coming from any traditional sources. No weapons, no power grids, not even natural phenomena. This was something deeper, something tied directly to the planet itself. His mind raced, processing the implications. Could Earth hold a hidden power, an ancient force buried beneath its surface? There was only one way to find out. "Deploy the drones," Zoreth ordered. "Send them to Earth. We need a closer look." The alien fleet, still hovering silently in the cold vacuum of space, began to deploy hundreds of drones, each one sleek and agile. These drones were not like the crude creations of Earth's early space age. They were advanced, equipped with cloaking devices, capable of performing high-precision scans without being detected. They could analyze anything and everything on the planet's surface without drawing attention. The drones began their descent, cutting through the atmosphere, one by one, each of them taking a unique path towards various parts of the Earth. Zoreth watched them through the massive holographic displays on the bridge, his face a mask of cold calculation. He wanted answers, and he was certain that the humans had nothing more than a fluke on their hands. As the drones entered Earth's atmosphere, something shifted. The silence within the command bridge deepened. The usual hum of alien technology, the buzzing of crew members, all faded into an eerie stillness. Zoreth's instincts told him something was off, but it was too late to pull back now. The first drone reached the surface, touching down with a soft landing in the vast forests of a distant continent. The moment its sensors made contact with the ground, a pulse of energy shot through the atmosphere. It wasn't like anything the aliens had seen before. The air itself seemed to vibrate with power. "Is everything operational?" Zorath asked, his voice suddenly more controlled. The officer at the console nodded, but his face was pale. Yes, Commander. The drone has landed successfully. We're analyzing the environment now. Wait, what's happening? The drone's systems flickered. A loud mechanical whine echoed from the control room as the feed from the drone started to cut in and out. Zorath leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the screen. Then, without warning, the image from the drone's camera went dark. The entire bridge fell into stunned silence. Report, Zorath demanded, his voice sharp. The officer hesitated, then spoke, his voice quivering with uncertainty. The drone, it's been deactivated. Something's shutting it down. We can't regain control. Zorath's heart pounded in his chest. He couldn't believe it. The drone was technologically superior, capable of overriding almost any system it encountered. Yet it had been rendered useless in seconds by an unknown force. He quickly ordered another drone to land in a different location. Try another sector, Zorath said, his mind racing with possibilities. Could this be some kind of weapon? Did Earth have the power to neutralize their advanced technology? The second drone descended, its cloaking device buzzing softly as it passed through the atmosphere. The tension aboard the flagship was palpable. This time, the drone landed in the middle of a vast desert, its sensors immediately scanning the barren landscape for any signs of danger or energy sources. At first, nothing happened. But then, a faint glow appeared in the distance. It was small at first, barely noticeable, but the longer the drone scanned, the brighter the glow became. The drone's systems went haywire, unable to handle the increasing energy signature. The drone's power began to fade, its systems scrambling. Finally, it went dark, just like the first one. It was a devastating blow to the aliens' assumptions about Earth. Zorath stood motionless, staring at the flickering screens in disbelief. A deep realization began to settle over him, cold and heavy. Earth was not the weak, primitive world they had thought it to be. It had something powerful, something dangerous, something that even their advanced technology couldn't comprehend. The data streams continued to flash across the screen, but all Zorath could think about was one chilling truth: Earth was far from defenseless. And whatever it was hiding beneath its surface, it was far more powerful than anyone had anticipated. Cliffhanger. Just as the first drone failed, and the second followed suit, Zorath's mind raced. He couldn't shake the feeling that Earth was hiding something dangerous and ancient. Earth's atmosphere had just unleashed an energy the aliens didn't know how to control, and it was just beginning to reveal its true power. With a low growl, Zorath muttered under his breath, "This will not be easy." As the alien fleet hovered silently above Earth, its commanders, led by the ever-confident Zorath, struggled to comprehend what they had just encountered. Earth was not the primitive planet they had thought. It wasn't weak, nor was it defenseless. The strange energy signature that had first piqued their curiosity was now growing, and with it, the aliens' understanding of Earth's true power. Commander Zorath stood at the helm of his flagship. The room darkened except for the soft glow of the control panels. The officers around him had been scanning Earth relentlessly, trying to make sense of the power emanating from the planet's atmosphere. The scans now revealed something that made Zorath's antennae twitch in disbelief. The energy wasn't just some anomaly. It was immense, more powerful than anything they had encountered in their vast travels across the galaxy. As the scans deepened, the officers on the bridge were stunned by what they saw. Earth's atmosphere, once thought to be a simple mixture of gases, was capable of generating an unimaginable amount of energy. But that wasn't all. The data revealed that this energy was tied directly to the planet's core, its biological life forms, and oddly enough, human technology itself. "Commander, this is impossible," an officer stammered. "The data shows that the energy signatures are interwoven with Earth's life forms. It's as if the very biological processes of the planet are harnessing the power, something we've never seen before." Zoreth's mind raced as he absorbed the implications of this discovery. If the energy was indeed connected to Earth's core and its life forms, then the potential to weaponize it was beyond their comprehension. The Empire had vast weaponry, destructive lasers, black hole bombs, quantum disruptors, but nothing like this. This energy could be the key to something far greater than they could imagine. Could this energy be weaponized? Zoreth asked, his voice low and filled with uncertainty. A scientist, trembling at the enormity of the question, nodded. Yes, Commander. If we could tap into this energy, it could create weapons beyond anything the Empire possesses. It would surpass our own technology. It would be a threat to our entire fleet. Zoreth's eyes narrowed. A surge of dread filled him. If Earth had access to this kind of power, their initial assessment of the planet had been catastrophically wrong. He turned to his officers, who were still processing the information. Prepare for invasion, Zoreth ordered, his voice steady but tinged with apprehension. We cannot allow Earth to master this energy. It's too dangerous. But first, we need to disable their communication systems. We need to make sure they can't warn the rest of the planet. The alien fleet sprang into action. Cloaking devices were deployed, and the fleet faded from view, becoming nearly invisible to Earth's defenses. The aliens were experts at stealth, and their technology made them nearly undetectable, even to the most advanced human radar systems. With their fleet hidden in the atmosphere, Zoreth gave the command for the first strike. The massive warships began to charge their weapons, and in a blinding flash, they unleashed an orbital bombardment. The sky over Earth darkened as the first salvo hit, tearing apart satellites in space, cutting off all communications between Earth's nations. The world was plunged into silence. No calls for help, no military response, just the eerie hum of nothingness as the alien ships hovered above. Below, on the ground, the initial response was shock and chaos. People were staring at their screens, trying to call loved ones, only to find that the connections were dead. Governments scrambled, unsure of what was happening, but no one knew the true danger that hovered just beyond their view. In the midst of the panic, a group of soldiers at a military base in the middle of the desert were going through their usual drills. Captain Bonner, a battle-hardened leader, had seen his fair share of wars. His dark brown eyes, full of experience, scanned the training area as his team prepared for another routine exercise. Little did they know that this was no routine mission. Bonner was a seasoned leader with years of combat experience. He had led soldiers through the toughest battles, through wars that had torn apart entire regions of Earth. But this was different. His gut told him that something was wrong, and it wasn't just the quietness of the day. His instincts, honed by years of service, were screaming at him that they were being washed. Just as Bonner turned to address his troops, the skies above them darkened. He looked up, his brow furrowing. The unmistakable hum of incoming missiles reached his ears, but it was too late. He saw the streak of light in the sky, and before he could give an order, explosions rocked the base, sending plumes of dirt and debris into the air. Soldiers scrambled for cover, confusion and fear spreading like wildfire. "We're under attack," one of his soldiers shouted as a wave of shockwaves swept over the base. Bonner quickly gathered his team. "Stay focused, people. Get to the command center. Now." As they sprinted toward the bunker, the air crackled with the sound of incoming explosions, each one shaking the ground beneath their feet. Bonner's mind raced, trying to make sense of what was happening. No one knew about this threat. No one had predicted it. How had they managed to penetrate Earth's defenses so easily? When they reached the bunker, Bonner's second-in-command, Lieutenant Sarah, looked at him with wide eyes. "Captain, what's going on? What's happening?" "I don't know, Lieutenant," Bonner replied, his jaw tight. "But whatever it is, it's not good. We need to figure out what's going on, and fast. We can't fight an enemy we don't understand." The team huddled around the communication equipment, trying desperately to get a signal. But every attempt failed. The satellite networks had been completely knocked out. They were flying blind. Bonner clenched his fists. His mind was already working on the next step. The first priority was to gather information, even if it meant putting his own life on the line. He couldn't let his soldiers fall into the unknown. He couldn't let Earth fall without a fight. "Get me an emergency link to military command," Bonner barked. Now, as the seconds dragged on, the silence in the bunker became unbearable. Bonner felt a pit form in his stomach. If the entire planet was facing this unknown enemy, they had to act quickly. But there was no time. The aliens were already here, and their power was overwhelming. In that moment, Bonner knew something deeper was at play. This wasn't just another invasion. This was a war for Earth's survival. Outside the bunker, the skies grew darker still. The alien fleet, cloaked and unseen, moved closer, ready for their next strike. Earth had no idea what was coming, but Captain Bonner would make sure they would survive, even if it meant sacrificing everything he had left. Cliffhanger. As Bonner and his soldiers prepared for their next move, they had no idea that the greatest battle Earth would ever face was about to begin. A battle not just for survival, but for the very heart of the planet itself. The chaos of the orbital bombardment had left Earth in disarray. Cities lay in ruins, and the skies were streaked with the glowing trails of falling satellites. Yet, amid the destruction, something incredible was beginning to happen. The very air that had been disturbed by the alien fleet's attack seemed to shift, as if the planet itself was awakening. Unseen by the invaders, Earth's latent energy, the energy that had been dormant for eons, was stirring. Commander Zorith and his officers, stationed aboard their flagship above the planet, watched the devastation unfold below. They were confident. Their weapons had struck hard and fast. Earth's defenses were crumbling. The humans, as expected, had no means to fight back. The power of their technology, vast and terrifying in the eyes of the primitive humans, had overwhelmed Earth's systems in just moments. Yet, what Zorith failed to understand was the one thing the humans still had: the planet itself. On the ground, Captain Bonner's team was doing everything they could to stay alive. The aliens' bombardment had knocked out most of Earth's communication systems, and the soldiers were cut off from any direct support. But they weren't without hope. As Bonner and his team regrouped in the underground bunker, he noticed something strange: an energy pulse that seemed to vibrate through the walls of the command center. "Did anyone else feel that?" Bonner asked, his voice low. Lieutenant Sarah nodded, her brow furrowed. "It came from the atmosphere, Captain. Something is happening outside. The energy is rising." Bonner's instincts kicked in. They had been hit hard by the alien bombardment, but Earth wasn't finished. Earth had power, something beyond their understanding. The energy wasn't just from the atmosphere. It was somehow connected to the planet's core and to every living organism. It was a force that the aliens couldn't control, and it was about to make all the difference. Without wasting time, Bonner made a decisive decision. "Get the old military tech online. We need to use everything we've got. The more we delay the aliens, the better." His team scrambled into action. Old tanks, planes, and defense systems that hadn't been used in decades were quickly powered up. Thanks to the energy surge, even outdated technology was coming back online. The military had long since abandoned these weapons in favor of more advanced systems, but now, in the face of extinction, they would serve a new purpose. Bonner's hands gripped the console as he activated the communication link to his soldiers on the front lines. "Listen up. We're not giving up this planet without a fight. The energy is shifting, and we can use it to our advantage. Deploy to the designated zones and get ready for an ambush. We're going to make them regret ever coming here." As Bonner spoke, the ground trembled beneath him. Above, the alien fleet was preparing for their next assault. They were confident that the remaining human resistance would fall easily. Their robots, drones, and advanced eye-controlled units were designed to deal with the toughest enemies in the galaxy. But they had underestimated the humans. and they had no idea what was about to happen. The first alien units began to descend from the skies. Advanced combat drones with cloaking technology were the first to land, their sleek metallic bodies shimmering in the faint light of the dying day. The drones began to deploy, scanning for any sign of resistance. They didn't expect much. They thought humanity would be cowering in fear, its defenses shattered. But what they didn't expect was the sudden surge of energy that exploded from the ground. The Earth's atmosphere seemed to come alive. The energy pulses that had been steadily building up became torrents of raw power, sweeping across the battlefield and interfering with the alien technology. The cloaking devices the drones relied on flickered and then completely malfunctioned. The drones were suddenly visible to all eyes, and their advanced weapon systems became erratic, firing wildly in all directions. "Now," Bonner shouted over the comms. His soldiers sprang into action, emerging from their hiding spots in the rubble and attacking the disoriented drones. The humans, armed with older but functional weapons, used the chaos to their advantage. Tanks rumbled into position, launching shells at the disabled drones, while ground troops took cover behind debris, launching rockets and grenades. The aliens quickly realized their mistake as their advanced forces began to fall one by one. The humans, though technologically inferior, were relentless. They fought with a fierceness that the aliens hadn't anticipated. Bonner's team, utilizing Earth's newfound energy surge, had turned the tide, if only for a brief moment. As the battle raged on, a pulse of energy swept across the battlefield, sending shockwaves through the alien ranks. The energy, which had been an unknown force until now, was growing stronger by the minute, pushing back the alien forces. The once invincible robots and drones were now easy targets for the humans, who had adapted quickly and used the Earth's power to disrupt their advanced systems. But amid the chaos, Bonner's heart sank as he watched something no soldier should ever witness. His best friend, Lieutenant Harris, was struck by an alien energy blast. He fell to the ground, blood pooling beneath him. Bonner's breath caught in his throat as he rushed to Harris's side. "Harris," Bonner shouted, his voice thick with emotion. But his friend was already slipping away. "Captain, you've got this. Don't let them win." Bonner's hands trembled as he tried to stop the bleeding, but it was clear that Harris was beyond saving. Tears filled Bonner's eyes, but he knew there was no time for grief. The fight wasn't over yet. Harris's sacrifice would not be in vain. With one last look at his fallen comrade, Bonner stood up, his eyes filled with determination. "We fight for Earth. We fight for Harris. And we fight for every human who's ever lived on this planet." He signaled to his troops, and the battle continued. The aliens, now in retreat, realized that they were facing something they hadn't planned for. Earth's energy was interfering with their technology, rendering their weapons useless and their cloaking devices ineffective. For the first time in a long time, they were forced to fight on the humans' terms. Bonner and his team, though outmatched in technology, had found their strength in something far more powerful, the planet they were sworn to protect. And as long as they drew breath, they would never surrender. Cliffhanger. The aliens, now on the defensive, began retreating. But the battle was far from over. As the human forces rallied, they realized something even more terrifying. The energy from Earth's atmosphere was growing stronger. What had started as a weapon of defense had now become a weapon of destruction, and the aliens were about to experience it firsthand. The next wave of battle would change everything. The once confident alien fleet now found themselves in a position they hadn't anticipated. Despite their advanced technology, their most powerful weapons were no match for the strange energy that coursed through Earth. Commander Zorath stood at the helm of his flagship, his face twisted with frustration. He had underestimated Earth, and now the very planet he had sought to conquer was turning into an unstoppable force. "Earth's energy is like nothing we've encountered," Zorath muttered under his breath, staring at the data on his console. "We cannot control it, but we can destroy it." In a fit of desperation, he issued an order that would signal the beginning of the final phase of the invasion. Prepare for full assault. Annihilate everything on the surface. Leave no survivors. The alien fleet, which had already devastated much of Earth's infrastructure with their orbital bombardment, began to deploy the full might of their forces. Thousands of additional ships descended from the sky, each carrying heavily armed ground troops, robotic war machines, and devastating weapons designed to obliterate any resistance. Their goal was simple: to wipe out humanity and crush any hope that Earth's defenders had left. On the surface, Captain Bonner and his team watched as the skies grew darker with the incoming alien forces. They knew the battle wasn't over yet. The energy surging through Earth's atmosphere had given them hope, but they still didn't fully understand it. They couldn't control it the way the aliens could with their technology, but it was becoming clear that the planet itself was somehow helping them. It was as if Earth's very spirit was rising up to protect its inhabitants. "Get ready, everyone," Bonner said, his voice steady despite the weight of the situation. "We've still got a chance. The Earth's energy is on our side." The soldiers scrambled to their positions, knowing this was their last stand. The aliens were coming with everything they had, and there would be no retreat this time. The time for running was over. It was now or never. As the ground shook beneath their feet, the first wave of alien soldiers stormed the planet's surface. They were met with a barrage of human firepower, but the aliens pushed forward relentlessly. Their weapons were powerful, their machines indestructible, but Earth had something more. Bonner's eyes narrowed as he watched his team fighting bravely, using Earth's newfound energy to disrupt the aliens' technological advantage. Human weapons, once outdated and obsolete, were now infused with the raw power of the planet itself. The Earth's energy flowed through the guns, through the tanks, and through the men and women fighting to protect it. The energy made their weapons stronger, more precise, and more devastating than ever before. The battle became a blur of explosions and fire. Alien robots and drones fell from the sky, crashing into the ground as human soldiers moved with precision and coordination, taking advantage of the energy boost Earth was providing. For every alien soldier that fell, two more appeared. The ground was littered with the wreckage of alien war machines, but the human resistance continued to fight on, undeterred and resolute. The sky above them seemed to crack open as the alien fleet launched its final assault. The atmosphere trembled, and the air grew thick with tension. A dark storm brewed in the heavens as the aliens unleashed their most devastating weapons. Massive energy blasts that streaked across the sky, targeting everything in their path. But Earth was not done yet. As the alien bombardment descended, the energy from Earth's atmosphere surged to new heights. It was as if the planet itself was fighting back. The blasts collided with the energy pulses, creating a violent explosion of light and sound that rocked the battlefield. The energy disrupted the aliens' attacks, deflecting them or making them explode prematurely. The aliens had no control over this power, and it was becoming clear that Earth was not as helpless as they had believed. But the fight wasn't over. The human forces were holding their ground, but the price was steep. With every alien they took down, another wave of attackers came, and the energy from Earth, though powerful, was unpredictable. There was no way to harness it fully. It seemed to surge and retreat, sometimes helping them, sometimes making the fight even more chaotic. Amid the chaos, Bonner's heart sank as he saw Major Jenkins, his second-in-command, fall. A blast of alien energy hit the soldier directly, sending him flying into the rubble. Bonner rushed to his side, but he already knew the worst. "Jenkins, stay with me," Bonner said urgently, shaking his friend, but Jenkins's eyes were glassy, his body still. "I'm sorry, Captain," Jenkins whispered, his voice faint. "This is the end. But you've got to keep fighting. Earth needs you." Bonner felt a cold rush of pain sweep through him as he realized he had lost another friend. Jenkins had been with him through countless missions, but now, like so many others, he was gone. Bonner felt his resolve harden, the weight of loss only driving him forward. With a final salute to his fallen comrade, Bonner turned back toward the battlefield. The aliens were relentless, but so were the humans. They had the energy of the Earth itself coursing through their veins, and they would never give up. Not now. Not ever. The battle raged on, but for the first time, the aliens began to feel the weight of their decision. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. The humans, led by Bonner and his team, were proving to be more than just survivors. They were the defenders of their world, and they would stop at nothing to protect it. The alien commander watched in disbelief as his forces began to falter. His advanced technology was useless against the energy of Earth, and he was starting to realize that the humans were not the weak, primitive creatures he had thought them to be. The true fear now set in. The longer they fought, the more it became clear that Earth's energy could never be tamed, never be controlled. It was alive, and it was fighting back. Zorath clenched his fists, knowing this would be the defining moment. Earth had become the true weapon, and it was not one he could conquer. Cliffhanger. As the battle reached its peak, Zorath issued one final order. We must retreat. There is no victory here. Earth's energy is unstoppable. But it was too late. The final wave of human resistance surged forward, and the aliens were on the brink of defeat. The battle for Earth was far from over, but the tides had shifted. The aliens would soon realize that the true power of Earth was something no one could have ever predicted. The situation had never seemed more desperate. Captain Bonner stood at the head of a ragtag group of human soldiers, their numbers dwindling with each passing minute. The alien forces were relentless, overwhelming, and seemed to have the upper hand at every turn. The orbital bombardments had caused devastating losses, and despite their best efforts, the human resistance had been pushed back. But in the midst of all this chaos, Bonner had an idea. It was a long shot, a gamble, but it was their only hope. Listen up. Bonner's voice cut through the tension, steady and commanding. There's one last option. We've been fighting for our survival, but now we have to fight to win. I found something we can use to turn the tide. We need to get to the ocean. His team exchanged puzzled glances. The ocean? Lieutenant Harris asked, still recovering from his injuries, but eager for any possible advantage. Yes, there's a hidden facility beneath the ocean, Bonner explained, his eyes narrowing. It was built by ancient civilizations, long before us. I think it controls the energy that's been boosting our weapons. This place could be the key to unlocking Earth's full power. The team nodded, understanding the importance of their mission. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about humanity's future. The energy surging through the atmosphere wasn't just an advantage. It was the planet's secret weapon, one that could not only push back the alien invaders, but also change the fate of Earth forever. But as the group made their way toward the coast, they knew their chances of success were slim. The alien forces had already begun their final assault, pushing forward with even greater numbers and firepower. The humans were outmatched in almost every way. Time was against them, and the aliens knew how to strike hard and fast. If Bonner's team didn't move quickly, they would be wiped out. The closer they got to the ocean, the more intense the battle became. Waves of alien drones and robotic soldiers continued to crash against them, their laser weapons cutting down anything in their path. But Bonner's team was ready for them. They had the energy of Earth coursing through their veins now, and every time they fought back, the planet's power surged to their aid. The Earth itself seemed to respond, protecting its people, guiding them in their fight. As they approached the hidden facility, a massive alien ship hovered overhead, blocking their path. Its weapons charged, ready to rain down destruction. Bonner's team had only one option. They had to move fast, or they would be obliterated before they even reached the entrance. "Cover me," Bonner shouted, signaling for his team to provide cover fire as he sprinted toward the entrance of the facility. The energy coursing through the Earth was pushing him forward, and every step felt like it had a purpose. This wasn't just a mission anymore. It was a fight for the survival of humanity. The facility was hidden deep beneath the ocean's surface, protected by a series of powerful barriers. But the alien forces had already discovered it and were doing everything in their power to keep the humans from reaching it. Bonner's team was met with a wall of alien soldiers as they reached the entrance, but they fought through them with a fury unlike anything the aliens had seen before. The energy from Earth was more than just a weapon. It was a lifeline, and the humans were willing to do anything to protect it. The fight was intense, and it seemed as though the aliens would overwhelm them. But then, just as hope seemed lost, the Earth's energy pulsed with unimaginable power. Bonner felt it first, a surge of energy that made the air hum with electricity. His hands tingled with power, and for a moment, everything around him seemed to slow down. The energy from Earth had unlocked something. It was a weapon of unimaginable strength that could take down the alien fleet once and for all. As Bonner's team pushed deeper into the facility, they saw the massive core that controlled the energy. The walls were lined with ancient technology, devices long forgotten by humankind, but still capable of harnessing the planet's raw power. Bonner knew this was it. This was their chance to defeat the aliens and save Earth. But getting to the core wasn't going to be easy. The facility was heavily guarded by the remaining alien forces. They had no choice but to fight their way through, and they did so with everything they had. Each step forward was a battle in itself. The walls shook with the force of explosions, the air crackling with energy as the Earth's power and the alien weapons collided in a violent storm. But despite the overwhelming odds, the humans pushed on, determined to reach their goal. As they reached the core, Bonner's heart pounded in his chest. The energy around them was pulsing now, a swirling vortex of raw power that hummed with life. The Earth's energy was alive, and it was ready to unleash its full potential. "We'd have to activate it," Bonner said, his voice steady. "This is our last shot." The team worked quickly, using every bit of their knowledge and the Earth's energy to activate the ancient system. They connected the wires, powered up the machines, and within moments, the core began to hum. The entire facility shook, and for a moment, Bonner thought the entire world might explode. But then, the energy surged, stronger than ever before. The sky above Earth lit up as the power from the core reached the atmosphere, creating a breathtaking display of light and color. It was as if the Earth itself was striking back against the invaders. The energy from the core shot into the sky, creating a massive orbital bombardment that struck the alien fleet with precision. Each blast was a direct hit, disabling ship after ship in a matter of seconds. The aliens had no time to react. Their fleet, once so powerful and terrifying, was being obliterated by the very energy they had sought to control. The humans had turned the tables, using Earth's power to defeat their foes. It was the final strike, the last stand, and it was a victory. But Bonner knew that the fight wasn't over yet. There were still pockets of alien resistance on the ground, and many more challenges ahead. However, as he looked up at the sky, he knew one thing for certain. Earth had shown its true power. The planet was alive, and it had just struck back. Bonner's team stood together, battered but triumphant. They had fought for their planet, and now they had won. The final stand had been successful, but it was only the beginning of a new chapter in Earth's history. The aliens had underestimated them, and now they would pay the price. As the skies above Earth cleared, and the alien fleet lay in ruins, Bonner couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. They had defended their world, and in doing so, they had ensured a future for humanity. The battle for Earth had been won, but the story of Earth's strength and the power that lay within was just beginning. The war for Earth had been long and brutal. The alien fleet that had once dominated the skies, its ships and drones raining down terror on Earth's surface, was now nothing more than a pile of burning wreckage. The once terrifying invaders had been utterly defeated, their technological superiority reduced to ashes by the raw, untapped power of Earth itself. The victory was sweet, but it was also bittersweet. Humanity had fought valiantly, and though they had emerged victorious, the cost had been high. Captain Bonner stood at the heart of the wreckage, his eyes scanning the destruction. The alien fleet was no more. The once mighty ships lay scattered in the sky like fallen giants, their weapons silenced and their crew defeated. The battlefield was quiet now, the only sound the crackling of distant fires and the hum of the Earth's energy, still strong in the atmosphere. It was a scene of triumph, but also one of loss. Bonner could feel it in his bones. He had won, but at a price. He looked around at the remnants of his team. The survivors were scattered across the battlefield, tending to the wounded, gathering their fallen comrades, and ensuring that the alien forces no longer posed a threat. But Bonner's thoughts were elsewhere. The faces of those who had fought and died beside him haunted his mind. His friend, Lieutenant Harris, who had been critically wounded during the battle, and Major Jenkins, who had sacrificed his life to give them a chance. Their memories would stay with him forever, their faces etched in his mind. They had given everything to protect Earth, and now it was up to Bonner to ensure that their sacrifice meant something. The surviving aliens, their spirits broken by the overwhelming power of Earth, had surrendered. They had never expected such a fierce resistance, let alone the raw energy of the planet itself. They had come to Earth expecting to conquer, to add another star to their empire, but they had underestimated the strength of humanity and the power of the planet that gave them life. Now the alien commander, once so confident in his victory, was standing before Bonner, his hands bound, his expression one of resignation. Bonner approached him slowly, his eyes narrowed with determination. "Your fleet is gone. Your army is defeated. Earth has shown you what it's capable of." The alien commander sneered, though his eyes were filled with a mix of fear and respect. "We underestimated you," he said, his voice strained. "Never again." It was the final words of the alien commander, and they carried weight. The invaders had come to Earth thinking they could crush it easily. They thought that with their advanced technology and vast resources, nothing could stand in their way. But they had learned the hard way that Earth was not to be taken lightly. The planet's energy had awakened, and it had turned the tide of the war. It was not just the humans who had fought back, but the very world itself, standing strong against the invaders. As the alien commander was led away, Bonner turned his gaze back to the battlefield. The war was over, but the victory was hollow without his fallen comrades. He could not forget their faces, their sacrifices. His heart was heavy with grief, but there was no time for mourning. The future of Earth was now in his hands, and the planet's power was something that could not be ignored. The battle for Earth was over, but the war for its future had just begun. Humanity had survived, but now, with the alien threat vanquished, they faced a new challenge. What to do with the power that Earth had unleashed? The energy that had given them the upper hand in the war was no longer just a force for survival. It was a force that could reshape the future. The question now was how to harness that power, how to use it responsibly, and how to protect Earth from any future threats that might come their way. Bonner knew that this was just the beginning. Earth had proven its strength, but it would need to be protected, nurtured, and understood. The technology that had allowed them to tap into Earth's energy was ancient, created by civilizations long before humanity's time. It was a power that had lain dormant, waiting for the right moment to be awakened. But now that it had been unleashed, it could not be ignored. Humanity would need to learn how to control it, how to ensure that it was not used for destruction. Bonner stood tall, looking out over the battlefield, his heart heavy, but his resolve strong. The war was over, but there was still much work to be done. The world would need to rebuild, to heal, and to adapt to the new reality that had been thrust upon them. Earth's energy was now a part of their world, and humanity would have to learn to live with it, to understand it, and to protect it. He knew that the aliens had learned a valuable lesson, that Earth was not a place to be conquered. It was a place of untapped potential, a place where the very atmosphere could become a weapon, a force of nature that could strike down even the most powerful invaders. But it was also a place of life, of resilience, and of hope. Earth had fought back, and now humanity had to ensure that they never forgot the lessons of this war. As Bonner turned to face his team, he saw the faces of the survivors. They were exhausted, battered, but they were alive. They had done it. They had defeated the alien invaders and saved their world. But the victory was only the beginning. The future of Earth was now in their hands, and Bonner knew that they had to be ready for whatever came next. The power of Earth was a gift, but it was also a responsibility. Humanity had proven that they could survive, that they could fight back against even the most overwhelming odds. But now, they had to prove that they could protect their world, that they could harness its power and use it for good. The war had ended, but the true challenge had only just begun. As Bonner looked out over the ruins of the alien fleet, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had shown its strength, its resilience, and its unwavering will to survive. And now, with Earth's energy on their side, they were ready to face whatever the future held. The victory was theirs, but the future was just beginning.